Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good evening. You're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. The Sultanate participates in the 3rd International Donors Conference for Syria in Kuwait. The State Council approves law of regulating the practice of pharmacy and pharmaceutical institutions forwarded from the Council of Ministers. And the Sultanate continues celebrations rejoicing His Majesty's safe return to the homeland. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. Upon royal orders of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, His Excellency Dr. Abdullah bin Muhammad Al-Saidi, Minister of Legal Affairs and Chairman of Oman Charitable Organization, participated in the 3rd International Donors Conference for Syria being hosted in Kuwait. During the opening of the conference, Kuwait has pledged to pay $500 million to Syria as humanitarian aid. The conference called on all participant countries to support the Syrian people with pledges as the United Nations issued an appeal for $8.5 billion to handle the biggest humanitarian crisis in recent history, which has resulted in the death of around 220,000 people and displaced around 11 million. State Council approved during its session today the project of organizing the practice of pharmacy profession and pharmacology institutions law, which was transferred from the Council of Ministers. Members of the State Council agreed to approve the project of the Unified Law of Anti-Dumping and Preventive Measures, which was approved earlier by the Supreme Council of the Gulf Cooperation Council countries. His Excellency Dr. Yahya bin Mahfoud Al-Mandhari, Chairman of the State Council, headed this session. United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, Prince Zayed bin Ra'ad Al Hussein, congratulated His Majesty Sultan Qaboos bin Said for his safe returning home after successfully completing the treatment program. Prince Zayed ibn Ra'ad Al Hussein wished His Majesty good health and welfare. He also stressed the fact that the achievements made in the Sultanate of Oman are culminations of human rights. He hailed the role played by His Majesty in promoting regional and world security and peace. This came during the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights meeting with His Excellency Ambassador Abdullah bin Nasser Al-Rahbi, the Sultanate's permanent delegate to the UN in Geneva today. The Sultanate's celebrations continued on the occasion of His Majesty the Sultan's safe return to the homeland. The citizens of the wilayas of Bahla and Samaya celebrated His Majesty's return. They went in a huge procession amid happiness and meanings of loyalty and gratitude. The procession was also accompanied by Omani traditional arts and national poems. Citizens in the wilaya of Duqm in the Governorate of Wasta also organized a procession of joy and loyalty, expressing their happiness of His Majesty's safe return. It witnessed Omani traditional arts and national poems. In a loyalty and gratitude procession in the wilayas of Al-Mazyuna, Maqshan and Thamrid in the Governorate of Dhafar, the citizens took to the streets with the Sultanate's flag, hoisting a traditional band singing arts, praying to Almighty to protect His Majesty and endow him with good health. In the Governorate of Buraimi, the citizens organized a national procession rejoicing the return of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos to the country. They expressed their sincere greetings and prayed to Almighty Allah to protect His Majesty as a guardian of this country and its people. In the Governorate of North Batna, the citizens of the Wilaya of Liwa organized a traditional festival that witnessed a huge participation from members of the society, including men and women, cheering sincere greetings and best wishes to His Majesty, the beloved leader. It also included Omani traditional arts and poetic sessions. Finally, to continue celebrating the safe return of His Majesty the Sultan to the homeland, citizens in the Governorate of North Sharqiya organized various horse and camel shows, accompanied by traditional singing arts and poetry, to express their sincere feelings and overwhelming happiness. Rejoicing the safe return of His Majesty the Sultan to the homeland, the students of Sultan Qaboos University organized a procession of joy and loyalty under the title Qaboos, You Are the Pride of the Nation. More details in the following report.
The students of Sultan Qaboos University went on a procession of loyalty and joy to express their sincere feelings and best wishes for His Majesty the Sultan. The procession started from the conference hall that witnessed the speech of His Majesty the Sultan back in 2000. It passed by the Sultan Qaboos Cultural Center that was opened by His Majesty back in 2010. The procession concluded in front of the open theater. It was accompanied by an artistic evening including national poems and Omani traditional arts. Huge crowds of students from various colleges of the university, including faculty members and college deans and staff, participated in the procession, carrying pictures of His Majesty and hoisting flags of the Sultanate, cheering sincere greetings and best wishes to His Majesty, the beloved leader, praying to Almighty to protect His Majesty as the guardian of this country and its people. Abdullah bin Ahmed al-Rubi'i, Sultanate of Oman Television.
Rejoicing the safe return of His Majesty the Sultan, the students of the health education institutions and general education in the Ministry of Health and Ministry of Education, along with the general public, held a procession. More details in the following report by Abdullah bin Ahmed al-Rubi'i.
In every corner of this beloved country, people from all walks of life continues to celebrate the return of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, expressing their joy and love for the beloved leader, praying to the Almighty to protect him, the guardian of the people of the Sultanate. Healthcare staffs from the healthcare institutions have celebrated and continue celebrating the joy of this occasion. And the students all over the country are enjoying this special atmosphere, expressing their gratitude to the leader. Here is one of the schools with this gigantic, colorful board is being signed by all the students and teachers. One and all have their share in articulating their novel literary and colorful way on it.
الله يفرحك بقدر ما فرحتنا وعمت الفرحة الشعب العماني كله وكل اللي يحبوك.
We are so happy because Sultan Qaboos has arrived to Oman safely and we can describe the happiness in our hearts.
We love you, Your Majesty.
We love you, Your Majesty.
The sense of belonging and love of the leader are evident in every educational institution across the Sultanate of Oman. The health institutes in Muscat conducted a procession where a huge number of students, joined by their teachers, administrative staff and their deans, marched through Wutaya streets expressing their happiness, carrying pictures of His Majesty, singing national songs, holding flags and banners that all represent the joy of taking part in this occasion.
Thank you, Sultan Qaboos, for your return. We are so happy that you returned to Oman and would like really to see you between us. Thanks for God that you are here and will come back to Oman.
We're so happy to be in Oman. We're a part of Cardiff University. We're students on placement here for 4 weeks. It's been amazing to be part of the march this morning in celebration of the Sultan's return, and it's amazing to see how his people are so loyal to him.
Today we had a wonderful procession with the students of the Institute of Health Sciences, and we were very proud of them for doing this for the sake of His Majesty coming back, and we welcome him back, and we hope that all his life will be healthy and he will be for us and with us forever.
Indeed, the procession here brought an aroma of love and loyalty to His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, the father of the nation. Abdullah bin Ahmed al-Rubi'i, Sultanate of Oman Television, Muscat.
The Omani students in Australia and New Zealand also celebrated His Majesty's safe return to the Sultanate. More details in the following report by Sultan Astarei from Australia.
The celebrations of the auspicious occasion of His Majesty's safe return have crossed all borders and oceans to reach Omani people all around the world. The Omani Student Society of Queensland, Australia organized a celebration to express their indescribable feelings of this precious and memorable event, where they reflected their happiness through various activities.
We were hoping to be in Oman, but this is how we gathered today here at the heart of the city just to celebrate. We came here, we carried the Omani flags, we tried to sing some Omani songs.
From the center of Brisbane City in Queensland, the Omani students organized a meaningful march celebrating His Majesty's safe return.
We as the Omani students are so delightful at hearing the news of the recovery of His Majesty and his return from Germany. And we wish him a very happy and healthy life.
Being outside home hasn't stopped them from wearing the Omani dress in order to convey their extraordinary moments to tell others about their love and loyalty toward His Majesty the Sultan.
Having him back in Oman give us more inspiration and motivation to continue our study with full strength and ability to go back home and be the best of ourselves.
Omani males, females and kids, all of them have gathered in this country to participate in this historical and significant event, and they promised that they will dedicate their time and efforts to serve their valuable country, Oman.
Still to come in our news bulletin. Project All is launched in the wilaya of Nizwa. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. The public prosecution today held a press conference on the achievements made in 2014. Dr. Ahmed bin Saeed al-Shikaili, Assistant Attorney General, said that the number of cases handled by the public prosecution in 2014 increased by 11.8% compared to 2013. He also pointed out that the largest number of cases in 2014 were received by the Director General of Public Prosecution in the Governorate of North Al-Batna, followed by the Governorate of Muscat. The number of criminal cases recorded in 2014 increased by 6% compared to 2013. He also pointed out that the number of misdemeanor increased by 12.5%. He added that the most common crimes were the theft crimes, followed by checks with insufficient funds. Consumer protection came third, while drugs issues came fourth. Staff Command of the Sultan's Armed Forces concluded the seminar of managing weapons, accidents, and chemicals in cooperation with the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons and participation of people concerned from the Sultan's armed forces, military, and security bodies. The seminar, which its activities started in Al-Shafaq Club affiliated to the Sultan's armed forces, discussed a number of topics related to managing chemical weapons accidents, security, and safety challenges. A number of experts and specialists from inside and outside the Sultanate gave lectures in the seminar, which came out with suitable recommendations which may contribute in awareness aspect of the risks of weapons of mass destruction and ways of reducing the spread of these weapons. Oman Air inaugurated its first direct flight to Singapore within strategic plans which aim to expand its services around the world. Airbus A330 aircraft will be used for the daily Singapore flight. The inauguration ceremony was presided over by His Highness Sayyid Taimur bin Asad Al Said. This direct flight will contribute in promoting a touristic and economic potentials of the Sultanate. The Municipal Council in the Governorate of South Batna reviewed the study related with collecting municipal taxes, which will be approved soon. The Council discussed also a number of aspects related to health, social and environmental affairs. The meeting was chaired by His Excellency Sheikh Hilal bin Saeed Al Abri, Governor of South Batna. The Municipal Council of the Governorate of South Sharqiya, during its third session of the third annual round for the first period, discussed the request of the citizens of the Niyaba of Ras Al Had, which included a number of topics, namely touristic developments, approval of Falaj Al Mashayikh residential plan in the Wilaya of Ja'lan Bani Bu Hassan, and to study the mechanism related to developing citizens market in the Wilaya. During the meeting, they also discussed citizens' request of establishing nephrology and cardiac catheteristic and surgery units, in addition to providing private rooms for inpatients at Sur Referral Hospital, besides discussing the mechanism of slaughtering and sale of poultry. Investing youth energy to serve, developing new residential plans, especially at Bani Al Bur area, and following up the works of the interior roads in the Wilaya of Khasab topped the discussion of the Municipal Council in the Governorate of Musandam during its third round meeting this year. The meeting was chaired by His Excellency Sayyid Khalifa bin Al Mardaz Al Busaidi, Governor of Musandam. The Directorate of Civil Defense and Ambulance in the Governorate of Dhahira organized an awareness program celebrating World Civil Defense and Ambulance Day. It included an awareness exhibition with the participation of government bodies and private sector to limit dangers of fire and disasters. The program also included school students' visit to get acquainted with mechanism and tools used in rescue and ambulance operations. Within the activities of Nizwa, capital of Islamic culture, the project of Reading for All was launched in the Wilaya of Nizwa. The project aimed to encourage society individuals in the wilayas of the Governorate of Dakhiliya to read. His Excellency Sheikh Saud bin Sulaiman al-Nabhani, advisor of the state, presided over the launching ceremony. Now for the general weather forecast. Clear to partly cloudy skies will prevail over the Sultanate with chances of scattered rain over Hajar Mountains and nearby areas. Winds will be north to northeasterly light to moderate. Seas will be moderate along the western coast over the Governorate of Musandam with a maximum wave height of 2 meters, and it will be slight to moderate along the rest of the coast with a maximum wave height of 1.5 meters. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The Sultanate participates in the 3rd International Donors Conference for Syria in Kuwait. The State Council approves the law of regulating the practice of pharmacy and pharmaceutical institutions forwarded from the Council of Ministers. And the Sultanate continues celebrations rejoicing His Majesty's safe return to the homeland. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, it's good night.